Howdy, my name is Thomas Johansson. I'm the author of the fascinating King's Gambit, and my most recent book is the fascinating Reti Gambit. And I think I will use this video to show you a few games in the Reti Gambit. The main game will be the first game ever, Reti against Marosi in Gothenburg in 1920. And during the game I'll look at the black's options. And here we have the gambit part of the Reti Gambit. White gives up pawn e4 for rapid development, and in 90% of the cases he gets the pawn back without a problem, and in the rest of the 10% he gets lots of compensation. But in this position black can defend the pawn with f5 if he really wants to hang on to it. Then white can simply play d3. Black takes it, otherwise his pawn structure will be ruined. And white takes back. And now white will play castling long and have lots of compensation here. The bishops are aiming against the king side already. Pawn f5 is hanging because the pawn is pinned against the king. And well, it works very well for white in my opinion. So the most common defense is knight f6, and here you could play g4 too, and that's how I started out playing it. It's a guy in America called Mike Papa who played this, and he even wrote a pamphlet about it in the early 90s, I think. But it's not a bad move, but I'm not completely sure it's 100% sound, so I prefer Reti's own idea, queen e2. Otherwise these gambits are very similar. Let's see, Marosi played bishop e7, but let's take a brief look at the other main options. Knight b d7. Here we can look at the famous game by Spielman against Miller. And black with knight b d7, black wants to play knight c5 and bishop d1, bishop d7 to c6 and overprotect e4. And white can play g4, I guess, but it's probably much simpler to just take the pawn, like Spielman did. And now black can swap knights and try to catch up in development. Then we have a standard position with a strong bishop in b2, and white will probably use a setup like castling long, playing d4, bishop d3 and knight f3. And meanwhile I guess black would play castle king side, b6, bishop b7 or something like that. It's not easy to play black in this position because it's hard to get counterplay. Okay, back to the game. Spielman's opponent Miller played bishop e7, and then Spielman used a rather cautious setup with g3. And this is a good alternative to g4, which is another reason not to play g4 so soon, because now you keep control of f4 in some variations, and the king is very solid on the king side too. Usually you will have to play queen side castling, but and this game is usually mentioned in the books on the French, and after a couple of moves something like this, the books usually end with equal. But if you just look at what happens in the game, it's not so easy to see where black went wrong. And now he tries to get rid of the strong bishop on b2, and white prevents that, keeping the pawn on e6 down. And black tries to get rid of the obstruction on d4, and white continues developing. So black also wants to develop, and now white wants to get black to exchange pawns on d4. So he plays c4, maybe threatening d5. And the black's problem here is the bishop in c8. It's not really participating. So black decides to try to get it out by playing b6. So first he plays rook b8. And now Spielman leaped into the center with knight e5. Finally black takes on d4. And by now, since white can't take with a knight on d4 anymore, but now Spielman simply played knight g4, chasing the bishop off the diagonal. And now I can take back threatening mate on g7, which is always nice to do. Black blocks. Now he might want to take the bishop out on d7 instead. But white just plays a simple natural move like rook a d1. And it's it's hard to actually see how black should get his development done here. He can't take here because then he's mate. And well, in the game he went back to his original plan and played b6, which was a mistake, but it's probably clearly worse anyway. But now Spielman just played queen e5, and thanks to the strong bishop on g2, the rook has nowhere to go. So what happened is he decided to give it for the white fielder, and they exchanged some pieces. It's almost forced, yes. And this is a very good endgame for white. It's probably won already. And black soon gave up after this. Rook c6. You can't stop white's rook from entering the 7th row, or 7th rank. And okay, let's go back to move 5.